Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am Erin Creighton. I am the Adult Services Department Head and Assistant Branch Manager for the Fredericksburg branch of the Central Rappahannock Regional Library. And today I'm really happy to be joined by Will King. Will is the founder of MF Growth, which is a Fredericksburg-based AI automation company. And I hope I got that right. Will, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you. Y'all, it's really great to be here. And I'm looking forward to telling you all about how to use AI the easy way.
Excellent. So, Will, what should we know about AI? For people who are complete novices, what should we know?
For sure. Yeah. So the thing to really, I think there's like real three things that I would need to know that I would encourage people to know about AI. Number one is you're gonna need to experiment and play with it for a good bit of time to understand it and to really know where it's useful and where it's not. Because I would love to be able to just hand over a list of things like, oh, it's useful for these things, but the truth is that boundary of where it's useful is constantly shifting, and so you kind of just have to play with it for a bit to really understand it. So that's thing number one. Thing number two is that I would love to tell you that AI the easy way means you don't have to think, but that's not how you use AI the easy way. The easy way is to actually use your brain, because at the end of the day, this tool is a thinking tool, and it mirrors your intelligence, not my intelligence, not the intelligence of, well, it's a mirror of the intelligence of everybody driven by you, right? So that's the second thing. And then the third thing is you're going to be playing around with relevant stuff and irrelevant stuff. You're going to tell it relevant things, and that relevant stuff is going to be useful to getting the outcome that you want. And then sometimes you're going to have irrelevant stuff, and you're going to have to learn how to take away the irrelevant and only put in the stuff that you want. So, yeah.
Wow. That's really great. You were talking about how it's like a tool and it's as good as what you put into it. So
Yeah.
do you want to explore that a little bit more? Like if you, like what kind of things would it be really useful for? Like if you were using AI at work or something like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I like to use it for research, and I like to use it for getting started on things. Right. It's a really great tool to get started on something, because humans have a natural ability to recognize what's wrong or recognize what's working and lean into it, modify it, and tweak it. We can do that much more easily than coming up with something wholesale, right? Mm-hmm. And so shoot, I lost the thread. My fault. Yeah. The things it's useful for. So research, helping you get started with something. So this could be getting started with a document, an email, a social media post. It's sort of it's good for brainstorming, right? And as long as you recognize that it's not a perfect answer machine, and it never will be, right? And it is as fallible as any one human, right? No human is perfectly accurate about everything. And so on the same token, you have to just assume that this AI is probably going to be wrong about something. It's going to be wrong because humans are wrong, right? And as long as you recognize that it's a mirror of you and it's a mirror of humans, and it's not it's more a mirror of humans' infallibility than it is of robots like always do it the same way every time, right? But yeah,
that's a good point. You know, I worked. We were running a class about grant research a few weeks ago, and one of the customers who came in to the class was telling everybody that he uses AI because when he's writing his grant proposals, mm-hmm. he has one of the AI systems check it for impact and for clarity, which I thought was really interesting because he's doing the work, he's putting in the effort there, like you said, but then he's asking it for help with that, almost like it's an assistant.
Yes, and that's the third metaphor that I encourage people to use it to think of it as like almost a helpful assistant, right? A helpful friend. In fact, I would say it's an overly helpful friend, right? It's like, here, you want all this stuff? And it's like, oftentimes like, no, I didn't actually need all that. Or you went a little too far, right? You got to be careful with it, right? You don't want to you don't want to assume that just because it gave you something that's actually what you need, because an overly helpful friend might overshoot sometimes, you know.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think that's what's interesting about AI too. The couple of times that I've played around with it, is that it does do that where it'll be like, well, you asked it for A and we gave you A, but do you also want B and C, or would you like us to change it to D or E? And it gives you lots of options, which is great, but that can also be like a little bit, I don't know, pushy maybe. And I'm like, no, I wanted what I asked you for.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it's a funny little cat and mouse game that the AI companies are playing with us, right? Like every time we use it, we're actually giving the AI human thoughts. Think about that, right? They're just going to use that to train the future models. And in fact, that's why they released it the way that they did. They released it so widely. They made it, and they're selling it. I mean, they're basically giving it to us at a cost. Like normal people, when they purchase a ChatGPT subscription, it costs them $20, but it might cost them $40 to run it, right?
Okay.
And
that's because they're using what we're putting into it to have it have the system learn, right?
Yes. They're quite literally DeepSeek made this very obvious in the AI community that this is possible, and other companies have been following suit. But you can essentially put a sail on your you can put a sail on somebody else's intelligence model and then coast on what they have learned.
Wow.
Right. And so in a similar way, when we put human thoughts into it, right, those human thoughts are reflective of the things people type, people say, people think, right? And that's ultimately what these models are trained on, is just large corpuses of documented human thought.
So I guess the question then comes to mind is, if you're using AI for for impact, for clarity, for research, for all this stuff, and you're giving it information, should you be a little cautious about some of the things that you're giving it, or no, it's getting so much information it doesn't really matter?
You should be cautious. You should be cautious in the sense of, would I willingly share this information with, say, the government, or would I willingly share this information with a therapist, right? Or maybe you would share this information with a therapist, but other people might be able to get to it, because right now there's a legal I think you can now subpoena the court can basically subpoena a ChatGPT transcript. So if you put something in there, it can be used as court evidence, right? And then similarly, if you have client information, right? If you own a business and you put your client's information into there, you have handed over data to OpenAI, to Claude, to whoever, or Anthropic, or whoever, right?
Yeah.
Google.
So you should be a little bit cautious with it.
You should be cautious. So just think to yourself, would I share this with the government willingly for no good reason?
Well, I think that's with all tools, though, right? Like, you need to be cautious when you're driving a car.
Indeed.
Like, you want to be cautious when you're surfing the internet. You want to make sure you don't accidentally download a virus, right? So
yeah. And the scope of the things that AI is helpful and useful at is all the things that humans can do and think, if you have some time to sit there and think about it, right? It's not so useful in like I can't use an AI. Notice how I don't have an AI right here teaching you this class, having this conversation, because you can't really get an AI to do that very effectively, right? But if you can sit there and think about it and post it, yeah, AI is great for that sort of thing. And if you needed to critique you, if you needed to, but you know what? Let's jump into it. Let's go into the actual stuff of it. So, real quick, I just want to do a quick little plug. This is my company.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't see my screen.
No, I can't see your screen, but you can share your screen if you, click present at the bottom, and then we can add that in.
There we go. Alrighty. Can we see? I love that. All right. So, quick little plug. This is my company, MF Growth. We're good?
Yeah, Fredericksburg based. We can see it.
Awesome. Yeah. So, like Aaron said, I'm a founder of MF Growth. We are a local Fredericksburg AI automation agency. We offer a range of different AI related services, and I love working with small businesses. That's why I do this work here, and this is also my home. So I just want to help people, man. So we're gonna get into the helping of using AI. So, okay, first things first. ChatGPT is right now one of the frontier models that most people are familiar with, and that most people might have access to. And it's not the best per se at everything, but it's pretty dang good at most things. And for a lot of people, there are certain features of it that are fantastic, like their personalization. But to get to ChatGPT, you just go to chatgpt.com, right? You log in, you create an account, not all that hard, all right? When you come into ChatGPT, you got two main interfaces that you're working with. You got this chat window right here that looks like kind of like a search bar, like a Google search bar. And then you have this side panel, right? And then the side panel contains all of the various chats that you might have had over the course of time. And it gets crazy long because once you start using AI, you find yourself using it a lot. And you can search through your chats. So if you remember a word that was in that chat that you know is in no other chat, you can find it if you you just search for it. That is a feature that they added, I want to say like maybe 6 months to a year ago. I can't quite remember when they added it, but oh man, has it been useful. Because trying to search through every chat you've ever done is a pain in the butt. But so let's see here. So AI the easy way means you don't need to put a lot of effort into it, right? So we're gonna do a little bit of that. We're gonna do a quick little prompt. We're gonna show how we can make a little blog post. I'd like to write a blog post about let's see about the ins and outs of running a public library event calendar. But all right. So yeah. So I put in a command to this, a prompt, right? And the AI came back with what looks like a blog. Now,
Or it
Aaron.
could also be used as like maybe a memo if you're trying to get your company to add an events calendar.
Mm-hmm. Oh well, say more. What do you mean?
So like, this looks like it's broken down into like why to do it, best practices, common pitfalls. You can actually use this internally too, right? Like if
Right. Yes.
if you don't have one, we have a great public events calendar,
Mm-hmm.
librarypoint.org/events. But if you
Mm-hmm.
didn't have one, this would be a great way to sort of convince people to do it too.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. I mean, yeah, let's unpack that. So you work internally, right? You have to convince people of something, right? Sometimes you need to do a little research to help with that convincing. And sometimes you need to explore what those arguments might look like. So here's the thing. This AI, it's like a helpful friend, right? But it's not necessarily a friend that you've been especially when you just start to use it, it doesn't necessarily know anything about you, right? And because I don't work internally with the library, I haven't told it anything about the library, right? So because it doesn't know anything about my relationship to the library, I need to say something like, I work for the library, and I'd like to convince my colleagues to add an event calendar. How might I approach that? Oh, and then it'll come back, and it'll tell you some things, right? Now, I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind, Aaron, will you read through some of this and give me your thoughts?
The first part about convincing colleagues to add an event calendar in the library is basically asking them to accept that chaos with a pretty face is better than chaos with no face at all is kind of hilarious as a
Hmm.
reasoned argument. Honestly, part one, frame it as a patron benefit. That's probably the biggest reason why we have it. To
Mm,
show people why, like what we have and what they can do here, and to make it easy for them.
mm,
Show the efficiency angle. You'd probably when is it? When is the reason? Yeah, when are things? So again, people can search for their own stuff.
mm-hmm.
Means into visibility. It showcases all the program partners that we are. So those are three fairly well reasoned arguments about why we would do something like that. That we are doing, and ours is great.
Mm-hmm.
Start small. That's a good idea. Let's see, offer to shoulder the setup, acknowledge concerns. I think the thing that Curl does really good, that our
Yeah.
library system does really great, is that we standardize it too, so
Mm,
that ours looks really nice across the public face. But if you look at, I'm not going to call them out, some other event calendars that might be public facing,
yeah.
they're not as good. But we have a great graphics department, so they're able to do that for us. But
Oh, interesting.
this
Interesting.
is a great argument, though.
Do you mind? Can we pull a random county out of a hat right now? That's not in Virginia. Uh,
Uh,
I want to
like for
critique.
their public library calendar.
Mm-hmm. Or just like a comparative one.
Oh, the only ones that are coming to mind are actually good ones. So
Oh, okay.
I can't think of one off the top of my head that wouldn't be a
Well,
good
it doesn't have to be
example.
a bad or a good one. I just want one that you have no
Oh,
connection
sure.
to.
You can
And
literally all basically a lot of libraries have this because it is very standard now to do this. So we have like you could go to the Boston Public Library website, or
okay, cool, cool,
if you
cool.
wanted to do something on the
We're gonna
West
do
Coast,
Idaho for some reason. Just 'cause
sure.
I'm feeling playful. All right. What's the smallest regional library in Idaho?
I don't even know if they do regional
Give
library
me
systems.
their website. So this is me just using it the easy way, man. I'm just putting in a quick little thing. Do I need to put a lot of effort into this prompt? No, not really. It's not really all that particularly important because all I want to find is just the URL. All right, cool, awesome. So yeah, you were talking about being able to go to other websites and compare it to it, right? So I want to
Yep.
show you another little feature here, right? So you see how this chat window is going? Like we got this first input right here, and then we have an output right here, and then we added in a little context, right? We added some relevancy, right? And we asked another question, right? And that came back with something that was more relevant to our situation, right? But now I wanted to do just a quick little bit of research, and I said, "Oh, what's the smallest regional library in Ohio?" I got the answer I need. I don't actually need this information. I don't need all this stuff in here. All this stuff is kind of irrelevant to what I want to do now, because what I want to do now is I want to critique it. But
Ah.
it's when you hover over an input in ChatGPT, you have this little thing that says edit message or copy. Now, the copy is great if you want to just like take your prompt and like edit it elsewhere. Oftentimes, what I do is if I get a really long prompt, I like to do this thing where I go, if you have Google Docs, if you just open up a new tab and you say docs.new, this is an automation that works everywhere and it's available to everyone. I love it. It's one of my favorite ones. You just hit docs.new and it opens a new doc. Ain't that great? So you can just paste in whatever you need to paste, but that's that. Anyway, so here's what we're going to do now. I'm going to edit this prompt. I'm going to put in this URL. I'm going to say, I want you to critique the quality of the event calendar that you find here. Rate it on a scale, on a 0 to 1 scale for the following things. What should we rate it on?
Ease of use.
All right.
What else? What are the other things matter? I guess
Compelling. Or how about like the what is it? The compellingness or
yeah, the the actual like the marketing,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
way that
yeah.
things are marketed.
Yeah, marketing, let's call it marketing zest.
There you go.
Right. Okay, cool. We're just gonna try that and see what we get now. We're just playing around. We're just seeing what this thing do. What I had a fun little way of practicing this in my way is what I would do is I would think to myself every time I would have a thought. I wonder if AI could. I would go out and I would try, right? And I would just do that over and over and over and over until eventually I had a pretty good idea of what AI could and couldn't do. And so,
That's
here we
interesting.
go.
So it broke it down and it gave you those scales on the scale that you were looking for,
Mm-hmm.
and then it gave you like a summary take at the end as well.
Yeah, indeed. Now here's an interesting thing. Now, if I go into here to edit, right? You see how this little thread thing came up, or this little 2/2? That means that we have a thread here, right? Okay. Now, what happens is if we hit edit right here and we just hit send again, we don't change anything at all, it's going to run the same prompt.
Will you get the same results?
You will not.
Ah.
You will likely not. Oh, this time we got 0.6.
This is actually a much higher rating than it got the first time on both categories.
It is. Now, what do we make of that? What do we make of that? Does that mean that those numbers are meaningless? Probably. Yeah, it probably does. But does that mean that the directionality of it is wrong? I don't know. Because here's what I noticed. Here's the thing I noticed. Both of these numbers, like in terms of ordinalness, in terms of like highest, like ease of use was rated higher the first time, and than marketing zest, right? So if we go back to the previous one, it was 0.4, 0.3. Interesting. So then we run it again, then we get 0.6, 0.4. What happens if we run it again?
So I think what you're trying to like hit home is that you can't take the human element out of it. It can do the basic stuff for you, but you still need to eventually go to this website and evaluate it yourself, correct?
Yes and no. So what I'm getting at here, right, is that the response that AI is going to give you is going to change every single time. Especially the wider the angle that you give it, the wider amount of play that you give it to create whatever it's going to create, the more likely it's going to deviate. So what I'm trying to say here is that because I wrote a prompt in a very loosey-goosey way, right? Rate it on a 0 to 1. What does that mean? What does ease of use even mean? What does marketing zest mean? There's a lot of different ways that you can interpret that, right? And because there's a lot of different ways you can interpret it, it's going to have a lot of different ways that it might score it, right? And so if I wanted to get this thing to be more accurate, I need to be more accurate with how we're measuring it, right? And so, but the utility of this, though, if you keep running it, right, and you keep getting a pattern of responses, right, there's some arguments that or there's some scientific arguments that people have made that suggests that the range of responses, right, if you imagine running this 100 times, right, you're going to get a range, a population, right, of answers, right. And it is suggested that average point of that of those responses is what the AI quote unquote thinks or believes is that number. But that's probably a little further along than AI the easy way needs to be. But
still good information.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So let's see. So we've talked about how you got to think. You can't just if you use this tool in a way where you're not using your brain, you're using it wrong, right? It is as smart as the smartest person might be, but also as dumb as the dumbest person might be, right? And a smart person can use it in dumb ways, and a dumb person can use it in smart ways. And if you there's this is a wild story. I had a friend who I started showing him how to use AI about a year into ChatGPT viral movement, and about a couple years later, I came back and he started teaching himself how to code, right? And before then, I didn't understand when he would try to talk tech to me, he would try to describe some like technical solution. I wouldn't have any idea what he was talking about. But then after he used AI for about 6 months to teach himself how to code, when he communicated to me, I understood what he was talking about. And that is wild because I know, because I've observed other people attempt to learn software engineering, right? Coding, all that. And it took them a lot longer than that. And I don't think it was necessarily him. I think it is the accelerant that AI provides you when you are trying to use it for learning, when you're trying to use it in a thoughtful, intelligent way. If you do so, you will get thoughtful intelligence back to you.
So. Wow, that's interesting. So it really is about what you contribute to it. That's really good
and
to know.
You
honestly.
are ultimately in the driver's seat, right? And if people tell you that AI destroys your critical thinking, they're lying to you. Okay, it doesn't destroy your critical thinking. The only person who can do that is you.
So honestly, it's what you put into it is what you get out of it, and that actually is showing you that if you think more critically about your prompts and the things that you're asking it to help you with, it can give you really thoughtful, detailed, defined answers. But if you are sort of giving it generic stuff, well, you might get generic answers and you might get a different answer every time.
Exactly.
That's really interesting. Thank you for sharing that with us, Will.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Well, this conversation has been fantastic, but we do have to wrap it up. Do you have any final thoughts of something about this that you would like to share with us?
Just that, really the two things you really need to do is play with it and use it for productive things, because those two things in particular will really start to hone it in, because the play allows you to discover all the little nooks and crannies where it's useful, where you didn't think it would be useful, right? But then the thoughtful, careful application of it in professional context will really, really drive home where it's useful and where it's not.
Excellent. That's really good to know. Yeah. So lastly, before we go, thank you again for donating your time and to, having this conversation with us. Check out his website, mfgrowth.ai. And again, local small business here in Fredericksburg. Thank you again, Will. We appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you.